I'm Kathy Holton Mason, and I'm here tonight as part of the 60th anniversary celebration of the Christmas story at St. John's with 4 women who have been married. First, we have Janice Matthews, who is my sister, and she lives in Toronto. And when were you married, Janice?
1969.
1969. I was married in 1972. Then we have Stephanie Goucher Price. I'm going to say your maiden name because so church people will know who you are. And how many times were you married, Steph?
I'm thinking it was 3 times, but it might have been 4. And I think the first time it was 2006.
Next, we have Karen Ashby Watson. And Karen lives in Port Hope. And when were you married?
I was married in 1991.
And beside Karen is her sister, Cheryl. How do you say your last name? I'm sorry. Miharis. Yeah, that's beautiful. And she's Karen's sister, so she was at Ashby as well. Do you remember when you were married?
89 or 90, I guess.
I don't really remember if there was a process other than we went up through the ranks kind of to become married.
You kind of went in a sequence, and then you kind of knew from one year to the next, okay, if I was Gabriel this year, I'll likely be married the next year.
Right. That's how I recall it as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Steph?
So it was me and Amber Irwin, actually, who went up together at the same time. So there was a lot of she was Elizabeth one night and I was Elizabeth the next, and then she was Anna and I was Anna the next. So it was lucky though that when we came to Gabriel and Mary, she was like, I just want to be Gabriel. You can be Mary, and we kind of sorted it out ourselves.
Do you remember how many years that you were in the Christmas story?
I started in grade 5 and I went all the way through grade 13. And I think I even did a couple of years when I was at university as lady of the court. I just didn't want to not be in it. It was just the highlight of Christmas.
She didn't want to not be in it so much that she took it to her church in Toronto for quite a few years.
No way,
the same
really?
script.
So 10 years.
Oh.
We're joined by Jennifer Bailey.
Yes.
We're just talking about what year you were married. Do you remember what year you were married?
I should have pulled out my photo album because my mom, of course, saved the clipping from the newspaper. So it was either 87 or 88.
Do you remember who your Joseph was?
Of course I do. It was Andy Hunt.
I think 3 of you had Andy Hunt as your Joseph, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was an awesome Joseph.
Well, he had the beard and everything and the height.
He did. He did. He didn't need much makeup, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, he didn't have to endure the glue.
Steph, you said you had 2 or 3.
So I think I had 2.
2. Okay.
I had Blake for my actual year, Blake Irwin, and then I had Colin Sears for 2 years, I think.
That's great. And Janice?
I had Bill Donnelly.
Yeah, Bill Donnelly was another one who was Joseph for quite a few years, and he was just a wonderful Joseph. He left before I got to be married, though, and I had Kim Bissett as my Joseph because there was no tall men around. So Kim said she would be Joseph, and she was. And she did a great job. She did a great job. Other than Mary, what was your favorite role in the Christmas story?
Not being a shepherd. I know that I was an angel, one of those trumpet angels once. And then I think I became a shepherd the second year I was in it. And then I was just a shepherd until I was like Elizabeth, Anna, Gabriel. Then I went to university. and then Mary. And then I came back after like 4 years of university, and I've been a shepherd for the last 27 years or something like that, and wore the same costume for 27 years.
She's such a good shepherd. She's so good with the little ones.
I try.
And she has some challenges sometimes, but she does very, very well.
Thank you.
What about you, Janice?
I loved being a shepherd. My first year, I was a shepherd. And then I think before I got to be Gabriel, I had to be an angel, but I thought being an angel was boring. You know, being Gabriel was fine, but being an angel, couldn't care less. I loved being a shepherd.
Did you have a favorite role, Steph?
So I was talking to my mom and I was like, the only role that I have not played is a soldier, a king, and like Herod.
Oh, there you go. Well, don't give up. Don't give up.
No, I was like, I feel like I should try and achieve all of them before, you know.
Jen, do you have a favorite one?
Starting from, and I know that Karen and I were like right in line. I would have been the year after Karen. So I remember waiting to be old enough to start. And then, you know, the excitement of every year working your way up to the ultimate goal, which of course was Mary. But honestly, my very favorite part to play wasn't until a few years ago when you asked me to be Gabriel. And that was, you were stuck and you didn't have anybody to be Gabriel. And so I did that for a few years in a row when you needed me. And honestly, I got more out of those years as Gabriel than I did all of the other parts. And Steph, I got to be a soldier before I was Mary, and I got to be an Oriental king back when I was an adult. But and I think it was because I mean, when you're a kid and you're a teenager, you don't really get the full grasp of what the words mean. And as an adult playing Gabriel, it was just like, that was my absolute favorite. It just moved me. So.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Cheryl?
Well, I have to say, I confer kind of with Jen at the beginning when she said that, you know, you wait, you know, from grade 4 to grade 5, you're like, I can't wait till this year comes. And I think one of my favorite, I liked The Littlest Angel. And then I always wanted to be the person or the kid who got to walk down the aisle, like right down the middle of the aisle all the time, but I never got any of those parts. My most favorite was The Littlest Angel.
Does anybody have a favorite memory that they'd like to share?
I have one. So I guess my favorite memory was when Spencer, for the first time, was in Christmas Story, and he was my littlest shepherd. And that last scene, and I got to do it twice, I think, where I walk, you know, you come down and you're the little shepherd supposed to leave that lamb. To me, like my heart just melted. It was so hard for me, like not to be emotional at that time where you come down the bottom of the stairs, and I turn my head and I talk to Spencer, and then I send him back up the stairs on his own. And then he comes back down, but he needs help down the stairs. Like, it's such a beautiful moment that you can share with your own child.
That makes me teary now. The shepherds always make me cry. They're so special and always have been.
Just going back to your, what was your favorite? I actually thought long and hard about this. It was actually the year that I was, you know, Mary, not my repeat performances. Like last scene, curtain closes. I come around, we're getting ready to do the song. I look over at my mom, she's bawling. I look at Kathy, she's bawling. We finally get to go out the door, and there is Mr. Honey.
Yes.
He was very stoic, like, you know, he gave us praise, but it was always, you know, he was very like an older gentleman of the church. I was always a little afraid. But when I watched the curtain and I walked past him to go see my family members, and he was standing there and he said, oh, Stephanie, you made Mary your own. He's like, you're exactly how I always pictured Mary. And that at that moment I bawled, because I was like, here is, somebody who I always has been seeing the production for years and years and years. And he just like, I felt like I broke his, old man shell, and I got really touched by like how I had actually made a difference. Yeah.
I always liked it when I sang for Mary, and people would say to me, "Oh, that Mary, she has a beautiful singing voice." And I just let on like the Mary actually was singing. It wasn't me. That was always my favorite part. I figured we did a really good job if we were synchronized that much that they thought Mary was actually singing. I think another thing that I really like about the Christmas story is that we're all anonymous. Our roles are all, nobody knows who's playing what part. So it's kind of cool because every part is important. So it's not, the Christmas story starring. It's, we're all kind of on the same plane. And that's the way it should be, because we can't have the Christmas story without any of those smaller roles. It's just not the same story.
I know one of my favorite things to play Mary was to do a good job for your mom, Kathy, because she was the person who directed it for me when I was going through the ranks. And I remember getting to be Mary, and I was like, okay, I can't let her down. I can't let her down. I have to do this for her, and I have to do a good job. And then the second part to that is, for me, I was at high school. You know what it's like being a teenager in high school. I didn't have a lot of friends that went to church. So for me to be able to play something like that and say to my friends, hey, come and watch and experience what it's like. And sometimes I have friends that would come and they'd be like, oh my goodness, that was so great. And just to share that something with them that maybe they've never had in their life, being a part of church and God and a community, that I was like, this is pretty cool to have my friends maybe come and experience this. So for me, playing those parts and showing other people and trying to, do a good job for your mom, Kathy, was kind of how I was like, it was the most exciting part, really.
It reaches so many people in the community. And this year, even though we're all sad that we can't have it in the church, we have another platform that we can expand to even more people.
Yeah. I teach at Port High School. So when I'm in Christmas Story and I go to school the next day, kids are like so excited to tell me that they saw me at church in this Christmas Story. And then it's like this, now it's this real connection that we have between who I am and what I do outside of the school building and them as a person. Like they were so excited to like tell me that they saw me and how much they enjoyed the whole Christmas Story from beginning to end. And it makes you kind of feel good that you're able to, like Cheryl said, share that with people outside of the church community.
Every character every year contributes their own special something.
Yeah.
It was an honor to be Mary. It was, like you said, I'm sorry. It was like the prize that you worked up to, but then when you're there, it's just such an honor to play that part.
Exactly.
It is.
Yeah.
We're all going to be crying here. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Beth, do you have anything to add?
I just think that there was a lot of like, well, my family was very involved in it also. So I think it was like, it was not only a church tradition, but it was also like my own family tradition. For me, it was very personal. It was a very family, like, and because, my church family.
Well, it's been wonderful to have this little meeting with you ladies tonight. And I'm glad that the Christmas Story meant and means so much to you and that you joined me here tonight to talk about this. Thanks so much for taking part. I love you all, and I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. And
good to see everybody.
Bye.
God bless.
God bless you.
Of eternal love begotten, ere the worlds began to be, He is words Alpha and Omega, He the source, the ending, He of the things that are and have been, and that future years shall see, evermore and evermore. At His word the worlds were framed, He commanded, it was done. Heaven and earth and depths of ocean, in their threefold order one. All that grows beyond